Everyone talks about passion like it's the magic ingredient for starting a business. But do you really need to be passionate about your idea to succeed, or is that just startup fluff? In this episode, we're breaking down what to do if you know you want to be an entrepreneur, but you don't have the idea yet. We'll cover how to spot opportunities hiding in plain sight, why the most boring categories can be the most profitable, and what the process of actually validating an idea looks like. Plus, we're giving away a few of our own ideas we're not starting because someone should. Let's get started.
Let's start talking about passion. Do you need it?
I say absolutely, because of course there are businesses that are, more lucrative, profitable, like money makers out there. But I personally, at this stage, being in a business for, 7 to 8 years, it's like the reason I'm still so excited about Bala is because I am so passionate about the brand. And we've talked about how that like wavers throughout the years. Like there were years I was less passionate, more burnt out. But if I was working on like a stapler business, like I would have given up years ago. Like I have to be in it because life is short. I want to work on something fun.
I completely disagree.
Always.
Now it sounds like I'm just disagreeing to make a point. I think that if you are waiting for passion to feel like, you can be passionate about so many things and those things just like there's no concept or there's no idea around it. And if you're waiting for passion, you'll never start.
I can agree with that specific thing, but I do think it's like when you think of an idea, let's say you have a genius idea, if you're not into that category, like let's say it's like, coffee or something and you don't drink coffee, it's like, I think you have to have love for it. Like you loved flowers, presumably.
Yeah. And then I fucking hated them by the end of it.
True.
Like I never want to see another flower in my life, you know, like
probably never want to work out.
Exactly.
Again.
And like the passion really wasn't like, oh my God, I love flowers so much. Like I want to do something around flowers. It was, I have a real passion for fixing this problem.
Right.
And I think you can feel passionate about creating solutions for things where you have a lot of frustration in that space. Mm-hmm. So yes, you should feel passionate about
but don't let it
doing
stop
something,
you.
But I don't think it should be about the category specifically. Yeah. Like if anything, and I don't want to go ahead and answer some of our next questions, you might be creating too much of a blank. Like you might be putting blinders on to seeing where opportunity is because you're only looking in spaces you're passionate about.
I can agree with that. I just think that there's a lot of businesses that are actually born from a passion. Like we had Zach from Our Place, and his whole life he was coming up with ideas and he was working in D2C spaces at cool startups, but ultimately his number one passion, cooking, that's where he ended up, So I do think like people end up there.
Yeah, but how many people do you think start to believe that they were passionate about the thing because they've been telling that story for so long?
True.
Like I definitely, my founding story, I loved sending flowers, blah, 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 blah. Like
then
you start to believe that was really you, but you're also just like building a narrative sometimes.
Okay, so, all right. Well, I think there's a lot of people out there that know they want to work for themselves, right? Like they maybe saw one of their parents. I saw my dad work for himself and have freedom. I saw my mom work a job and didn't have freedom. And I think that really like stuck with me, whether I knew it or not. But I think, you may be like, eventually I want to start my own company, whether that's you went to business school and that's your goal, or you just know it eventually you want to. So how would you go about coming up with a business idea if you knew you needed to be a business owner, but you had no idea yet? And so this actually is like, say you're like, I've been waiting for an idea. I'm passionate about these things. Nothing's coming to me. Like, how can we help people like come up with their business idea? Because I do think like, if you spend some deep dive brainstorm sessions for like a couple months, like you'll come up with something that's good enough to start.
Yeah, I think as a second time, once you've done it once, you see the opportunities, right? Yeah. So like for you and me, because we've come up with the idea, there's a mixture of things as you see the opportunities more, and also you're capable of building it, so you have less fear around starting something. But one way I think is just like looking at your day-to-day Like, what do you do every single day? And like, what part of the day is frustrating? And is there an opportunity there? Like, if you live in New York and you spend every single week, you spend time like walking to the laundromat, that's taking time. That's frustrating. You have no love in that. Again, it's probably not a category that anyone feels passionate about, but like, is there an idea? And now there are many of like pick up laundries, right? And it like does it all for you. So I think it's like looking at your own daily life.
Yep.
Maybe that's how you connect the passion element. It's like you're fixing a frustration that you personally are affected by.
Yeah, exactly. The old problem solution, which is like this is the way. We have a guest coming on tomorrow that has a crazy story of problem solution. Bala was a problem solution idea as well. And so I think that is probably the number one way to come up with an idea. But I mean, I think there's a lot of overlooked things hiding in plain sight that it could be like a brick and mortar nail salon or a coffee shop that is a little bit different than what you are seeing, or there's nothing in that neighborhood. Like it doesn't have to be this like huge, never existed in the world idea. I think it could just be like something that you're missing in your community as well.
Yeah. One of my favorite pastimes, this sounds so lame, is walking around CVS and just like looking at the really shitty branded products that exist and being like, is there a need? Like, is there a need? Is there a need? You know, like deodorant obviously was done. Tampons now done. But if you walk around those sections, you can really like question like, what is the opportunity size here? Is there something that hasn't been innovated on for a really, really long time? And how could I differentiate? And then I think one great way to validate that is like go on Amazon and read the reviews of these products and then see what the negative reviews are and see if you can like positively affect that product.
Definitely. Yeah. Or like it doesn't have to be like a physical product. It's like a marketplace, like what you did. It's like a marketplace is a great way to come up with an idea if maybe something's not serving you. We'll talk about some of those ideas later, but I also think absorbing as much like content as you can about other people building things. I thought that was like, that really helped me in my early Bala stages. It's like listening to podcasts like this, but it could be like, you know, ones, you know, like How I Built This or whatever. There's tons, right? Business podcasts, watching Shark Tank, like just absorbing all of this. And it's entertaining regardless, but it will just help get your juices flowing. Yeah.
We kind of talked about this with CVS, but where would you look to find these ideas?
I'm thinking product based when I'm saying this, but I think that I would look for categories that have not been reinvented yet, which I think at this stage is probably hard to find. But it's like we had Rael, the tampon company here, and it's like, you know, tampons. It's like that's a great example because it's dominated by Tampax and Playtex or whatever that one's called. And essentially, you know, what's the organic solution here, you know? And I think if you look at any category like that, and like maybe it's, you know, cameras for podcasting, they're all so expensive. What's like a cheaper, eco-friendly solution? You know, I feel like there's like a way to like reinvent the wheel on many categories. I mean, for Bala, it's like, it was crazy that wrist and ankle weights like didn't exist yet. They were like 80s and disgusting. And so that was an easy one that we said, how has nobody looked at this? But I think there are still a lot of ideas kind of hiding in plain sight. I think especially if you maybe even look, I know food and beverage is a really hard industry, but looking at food as well, you know, allergy friendly option, like I could, you know, go on about this. But
I think there's also, if we're trying to move away from product and you're saying you don't necessarily know what you want the output to be, so it could be service, could be software, could be product, just focusing in on becoming friends with ChatGPT and focusing in on very, very big markets that have low innovation. So like really unsexy markets. I would normally put like cleaning into that space, but I feel like that's been made sexy recently. Laundromats is definitely one of them that I think people talk about. I think there's a ton of stuff around like not over-the-counter pharmaceutical products, you know, like bug spray. There's so many things that when you think of these things that so many people use on a daily basis, but they're just not sexy to touch, going through markets instead of going through thinking from the product first and trying to innovate that way.
Yeah. And I think, you know, just in general, traveling is a great way to find inspiration.
Yeah.
Go to any country and see how they do things differently and ways we can improve. Hopefully, like making the environment better or something, but basically going and visiting other countries and seeing what we could bring here.
I mean, the amount of founders whose podcasts I've listened to or that we've interviewed that have said they have gone somewhere in Asia and then brought that idea back here. Like I know Tatcha, the founder, went to Japan to like fix her own skincare issues and brought a lot of that back. Obviously, the founder of Rael, you know, has a Korean background and went to Korea and brings those products back. Like Asia seems like the place to be in terms of like maybe seeing how innovation is progressing over there and seeing what would work for the American market if you are in America, or the UK market, or whatever that might look like.
I also think like go work at a startup. A startup is, I always recommend that to people regardless, because you can get like 10 years of experience in 1 year and you just touch so many things and it's chaotic in the best way. But I think go work at a startup, because I mean, Bala, when we were a startup, now I see some of the people that we talked about this, but had to lay off, unfortunately. They've gone and started their own thing, because I think actually a lot of them have. And you look, because you are working at that startup and you say, I like learned how to do this. Now I'm going to go apply that to another category or make a category better. And I also think like business, it's not always about taking over the world. I think it's just like enough, getting you the freedom you need, paying your salary. Like it doesn't have to always be this like $1 billion idea. That's great, but we can't all have these ideas. I think that's just not how the world works. So it can be just an idea that gives you the freedom and lifestyle that you and your family want.
Yeah. Natalie, what's the inventory funding platform you used to fund that PO you got from FabFitFun recently?
Kick Further. We were growing so fast, but we didn't want to take on debt or give up any equity. So we looked to Kick Further, and they quickly funded it on our terms from real people who believed in Bala.
That's the dream. So funding growth without losing control.
Exactly. Bala scaled, we kept ownership, and Kick Further made it possible. And we still use them to this day.
Well, visit kickfurther.com to learn more.
And tell them Natalie sent you. Let's talk about stealing ideas.
Yeah.
I, for one, hate this, because you know at any given moment we're wrapped up in a lot of lawsuits and we have thousands of legit counterfeit products on the market. Like the day we launched the yoga mat scrunchie, like weeks later, Alibaba popped up a ton. And it's really frustrating. I personally am very against stealing ideas, because I think that, you know, there's no soul to it. You weren't the inventor. You're just like slapping your logo on it and like trying to pretend it's yours. That's just like so inauthentic. And I think it may work for a short while, but ultimately like you won't win. I believe in karma as well. So it's just, I'm against that. So just like, what's your thought on like, you know, stealing ideas, and why? What do you feel?
This is a tough one, because you almost need like a clear definition of stealing.
Let's talk about that. What's the fine line between stealing and inspiration?
Yeah, because I think everything that exists in the world is an inspiration of something that already existed.
Totally.
And much of our advice at the beginning of this was like, find something that sucks and do it better.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that any of the brands who have copied you are doing it better. I would say the majority of the time they just are like, oh, that looks like a good idea, I'm going to do it in the UK, or, you know, so the question more is like really understand what differentiation and what value you're creating for this product. Because when I say like walk down the aisles of CVS, you are stealing.
Yeah.
But
well,
also,
you're improving though.
Yeah. But also
significantly.
Yes. But that's why the definition is important.
Right.
Because what is stealing and what is improving and what is ownership in a world where
everything exists.
Everything exists, and also like we're all consuming content and using it as inspiration.
True.
Like every piece of content we make on social media is stealing a trend from somebody else.
So maybe you got to put your spin on it enough where it's like it doesn't feel like there just is a fine line between you have to be inspired by it and like make it your own.
Totally. And I think it's going to be obvious if you're just like, oh, I can do that too, and I have a manufacturer. But if you look at beauty and you look at hair care and you look at even femme care, like who's
started
stealing,
what?
who's copying,
and fashion.
Totally.
I mean, think about it. This was on the runway probably somewhere,
Yeah. I mean, everybody's doing a striped shirt right now. Like, I can name all of the young brands that we all know and love.
So you just got to stay as authentic as you can to yourself by adding your flair if you are taking inspiration.
Yeah. I think that it's a mixture of like, you do want to deliver the things that people are buying because of the trends, and you need to do that. And then it's also being really clear on what your brand represents and why people want to align with it beyond like we're just churning stuff out because other people are churning stuff out.
Right.
I'm going to say it's okay to steal, but there's caveats around how to make that stealing valuable. And when I use the word steal, I mean, you've got to be inspired by something.
Everyone has a mood board.
Yeah, exactly. What does the process of validating an idea once you have it actually look like?
Sitting with it, seeing if it exists. And again, if it exists, like that's okay. How is yours different? But I believe that if you sit with it and you're still coming back to it, like you and me have talked about a lot of ideas back and forth, and it's like, it's okay to brainstorm those, but it's like, if you're not still thinking about that weeks later or months later, whatever it is, then it's maybe not worth pursuing. I think a really good idea will like smack you in the face, but you will question if it's a good idea. Again, with Bala, we questioned that for a long time. But I think we talked about validating. We should talk about it again. But I think I also validate by talking to people that I trust, that are friends, that will give me the truth. Like you and Max would be perfect examples of this. Like if I had a good idea, I would could run it by you and be like, is this a good idea? I could run it by Max. And I know you two would be honest about it. Yeah. And Max does the same thing to me. You do the same thing. And so I think I would like low key validate the early, should I pursue this, by asking a few people I trust.
Yeah.
How would you validate?
My first point of validation would be understanding market size and then saying, okay, if I were successful in this and I took 1% of the market, 5% of the market, 10% of the market, what's the real opportunity here? I think there's a lot of ideas that we think are really good ideas. And then when you look at the market size, it's like, oh, actually only 10,000 people used this thing last year. There's no business, right? So to me, even before having conversations with friends, I go, can this be big or big enough to my expectations? And everybody has different expectations. So first it's a numbers game.
You're thinking big. I know that. Yeah. I'm like, just enough to give you some freedom.
First it's a numbers game. And then, like you said, it's validating with people that, and I think we're now unique because we are doing this or have done this before, where we have people within our circles that know what a good idea looks like and can also have open conversations with us to stress test them. If you have anyone like that in your life, I think those are the people I would validate with.
Right.
Other business people who are also potentially your customer.
Yeah, I like that. So I think, again, when you're thinking about like products, even marketplaces, it's kind of overwhelming because you think you have to have that like insane idea and like, where will I get that? But I think what's often overlooked is kind of what you said, like the laundromat. It's like service-based industries or even software-based products, because this is why I say work at a startup, because you may see, oh, I don't have a platform for affiliate, like enter ShopMy, It's like you may think of something really cool that you didn't have that you wish you had.
Yeah.
But I think services are a really good entry point. I think, for example, it's like, I never have time to get my nails done. And Glam Squad never has availability for me. So I'm like, what's a mobile nail spa? I'm sure there's one that exists, but just like service-based industry, and that's more, could be community-based, and then you can expand if you want to from there. But I think, what do you think about service-based industries as an in?
I mean, I think that they're amazing. Obviously, I started using that massage app through you. What's it called?
Soothe.
Marketplaces are just hard. They're really, really hard. And that's not to say people shouldn't think of them and shouldn't do them. And there's a lot of value in them because you don't own the product creation process. It's just finding somebody who already does that thing, validating them, and then putting them on the platform. But you do have to build such hyper local communities that work. And this is the wrong tangent to go down because I'm obviously still in like a fear mindset from marketplace. There's definitely a lot of opportunity around service that hasn't been cracked or has been cracked and could be made better. Like you said with Glam Squad. And I think we live in a time where it's so much cooler to make a physical product that that's all everybody is thinking about.
Yeah. But there's others hiding.
Yeah. And I think people think that's easier.
No.
I think they think like, for sure. I think they think, oh, I find a contract manufacturer. All I'm doing is some branding. And then like it scales. To me, software is way easier. Like you just talk about validating your idea. Like you build something super simple and you see if like 100 people will use it. And then you build extra features.
Well, it's definitely scalable. That's for sure.
I mean, it's just so much easier to like test before investing a ton into it.
Right.
What's the difference between someone who waits for inspiration and someone who takes action?
The years fly by and you can sit around waiting for an idea to smack you in the face, or you can say, I'm going to take a month or, you know, however long it takes, and I'm going to do a thoughtful brainstorm session. I'm going to absorb as many how I built this as I can, or Shark Tanks, and I'm going to do like crazy deep dive brainstorming every day, like look at the world, look at my community, and come up with an idea, and just like, I'm going to do that. And I think that the difference is the idea may never come to you. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. If it doesn't, you need to take action, especially if you know that you want to start something someday, and you need to take action and start brainstorming, start talking about ideas, and something will land eventually.
But are you ultimately saying then that everybody just needs the right idea and then they're an entrepreneur?
No, but I don't think everybody can or wants to be or should be. I'm saying if you feel called, like that you want to explore that, or maybe you just want it to be a side hustle that makes you a little extra money and you have your day job. But I think you can wait around, or you can go think of it and at least give it a go. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but at least you know you tried.
Yeah, I agree. I think that doing is the real key, right? And we talk about that constantly, but you can talk about something endlessly. And I did that with Flume. I spent years talking about that. I've done that with other ideas over the last 6 months. Granted, that's not that much time, and I have only been out of my last business for 6 months. It's so easy to have enough insecurity to talk yourself out of anything that until you've tried something, even if it only lasts 6 months and you're like, you know what, this isn't for me.
Yeah. Try it and then fail at it and then try your next thing. If you're called
and the next
to do
thing
that,
might be like, actually, I really love my cushy job.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly. Then you found appreciation for that.
Yeah.
And that's totally okay.
Yeah. The grass is always greener, right? So you're always going to think like, I never took the jump. Take the jump then. Yeah.
Let's talk about the ideas. They're just thought starters, really. Yeah. Yes, you can go create these ideas if they call to you, but it's really just like our version of a brainstorm. And I think it's 6 to 7 ideas that were like, we think these are good. You should go try them or brainstorm off of them. It just kind of gives you an idea of how to come up with something. Okay, I'll start. So this one, I already told you. My issue is I have 3 kids, and the hardest part is not the fact that I have 3 kids and it's chaos. The hardest part is actually when I need to be somewhere with 2 of them or 1 or all 3. It's like getting out the door is impossible. Like, you have to bring the snacks. You have to bring 10 other things, the allergy medication. Like, you got to bring everything. And so the idea came to me when the baby was really little, and I was like, my kids don't even want to like get dressed. Like, I have to tell them 20 times to put on their clothes, and then they still won't. And then I have to like bribe them with something to get them dressed. So the idea is comfy kids clothes that are pajamas. So basically it's like if you're waking up in the morning, you're going to the park or something, or you're just running out to Whole Foods, but you need to like grab your kids quickly. They went to bed in these pajamas. but they wake up and it looks like it's not like a Paw Patrol pajama set. It's like a cute little like Zara looking monochromatic. Looks like it could be just day clothes, but they slept in it. But it doesn't matter. Like, unless you're a clean freak, it's like, you slept in it last night. We're going to go. And we just go out. And then they just got their park. They just got their park outfit on. And that was one less thing I had to do. And eventually your kids will learn to dress themselves. It's not even that big of a deal. But I think a line that is specifically, the marketing is around, like, these are pajamas that you can also wear during the day. And it's for like, everyone's a busy mom if you're a mom or a dad. But this is like, was a pain point that I had over the last 6 months and counting.
Nice. One idea that I had that I didn't do is a non-toxic at home like box hair color brand.
This is a really good idea.
I think this is a really good idea.
Does it exist, or we don't know?
It doesn't exist.
Okay.
There's like some small brands that I don't think are cracking it. I think
if we don't know the name of it, there's room.
Exactly. And also they focus a lot around color, like bright colors, as opposed to just like, I'm in my mid 30s and I want to go like brown, blonde, the basics. But like, I don't want to buy a Garnier box that like the woman was shot in the fucking 90s with like a fan in her face and like she's so photoshopped. Like all those pictures nobody has changed or innovated on. So when you go and you look at the grocery store or whatever, it's crap. And it's all full of like ammonia, a ton of chemicals. Like, we live in a time where I think we're much more aware of what we're putting on our body. And none of the brands like spoke to me. I think there's a really, really fun way to do that.
Someone should definitely do this, because we are millennials, we are aging, we don't want to buy the Garnier, right? I also don't always have time, but we're aging, we're getting gray hair, right? So it's getting like a cool D2C but good for you brand that like people like us would shop, eco-friendly. Somebody should do that.
Also subscription.
Obviously, anything with a subscription,
please. So great model subscription. Another little tidbit is I thought it should come with a tie-dye t-shirt of the color, so you can put that t-shirt on. If you spill on it, you're just like adding to the tie-dye.
Fucking cute.
So
somebody
cute.
do this. Next, purpose-driven marketplace. Sorry if this exists, but I want a purpose-driven marketplace where basically I only shop there, right? So like, think Thrive, but it only has brands that are like so incredibly sustainable. That's the most sustainable option, like Hero Diapers, which we've talked about in the past. Who gives a crap? The most sustainable, and they donate their profits. Tom's, like this purpose-driven marketplace. It could be food, it could be anything, but it's each brand that it has is the most sustainable on the market.
Yeah, agree. I think there's a company called Grove, which is a marketplace for like non-toxic cleaning products. Very, very, very big business. And leaning into that same space where it's like, you just want to buy from brands who have a purpose and are thinking about the environment.
And bettering the world.
Yeah.
This needs to also exist.
Yeah.
On that note, my next idea was looking at existing innovative sustainable materials, which there might be patents, so you'd have to like figure that out. But my example was Hero Diapers, which is the fungi it turns into fungi, so it's the first diaper that's completely compostable. Look at that material, talk to them, see whatever other materials can be applied to other businesses. Because I think at this point we need to be like thinking through like more sustainable, smart ways to create things. So I think looking at really cool materials and how else you could be using those.
Yeah. I think wipes is a good one to look at for that. I use so many wipes around the house.
Yeah. Like one that's completely compostable. Yeah.
Completely compostable, but also with multi-uses. Like for your dog's paws, like, I don't know if this is like psycho of me, but like I like to wipe Cleo's feet every time she walks into the house.
Yeah, you want to definitely make sure that's eco-friendly.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm using wipes constantly because I don't want her like dirty ass feet on my white sofa. And I have, kept the rule of I can still have white items and have a baby. All sorts of wipes would be a good one for this.
Okay.
Makeup with SPF. I know that there are SPF based or like color based SPFs, but putting it in every element of the makeup, so you're constantly adding it on. I always see people like say reapply your SPF several times a day, but I'm not going to do that on top of a makeup face. Even if you have light makeup, it's just pointless and it smudges it. So if your blush had it, your eyeshadow had it, if everything that you're using just automatically had SPF in it, you would hope that you would be adding to it. I also know nothing about SPF and how much coverage you need, so it might be a lie.
So in Austin, we had snow cone stands. It was a big thing. I don't really see it in LA, like snow cone stands, even though it's 100
I don't really know
degrees.
what that is.
Okay, so
it's like shaved ice.
Yeah, like shaved ice. Snow cone stands. We had a bunch of famous ones, and it was just like the best thing. You get them every day. It's 100 degrees for like 6 months. Like it's just necessary. So I'm always wondering why I at least don't see them in LA or other markets. Like I usually only see them in Austin that I know of, but really like the world's getting hotter. It's hot everywhere. Like it is delicious. I think there could be a really cool like retro like mobile truck situation that is snow cone stands.
Dye free.
Well, delicious and eco-friendly and all the things.
And good for your kids.
Yeah. But delicious.
Yeah.
You can do dye-free.
Yeah, I think you can now. You just use like beetroot. Kids sunscreen that they're excited to put on.
So this one is like, does the world need
another sunscreen brand?
But I basically, I know there's like some kids that just scream bloody murder every time you put on sunscreen. One of my kids is that, my niece is that as well. But they love like, you know, painting themselves. So like dye-free, whatever, glitter, whatever is like the right thing that you would want to put on your kid's body. But something they would be excited to put on, like it looks like blue, but then it turns a different color, whatever it is for like the desperate moms that need to get sunscreen on the kids. Because at least in LA, like we go to outdoor schools, I have to sunscreen my kids every single day.
Yeah.
And it's like a pain. Yeah. So I think that would be, you know, it's not, you're not going to use it forever, but maybe you have like a 2-year-old that you need to just make your life easy for that year and you could use that.
Were you of the generation of those like bright like chapstick sticks, or was that just like a growing up in Bali thing?
I think it might be a Bali thing.
Yeah. Really?
Sounds
I know
fun,
it's like
though.
an Australian thing too, but it's like those like fluorescent colors where you would just like blocks them across your face.
I mean, I know the white ones, straight up white.
No, it was like pink.
Oh. So this
green,
exists elsewhere.
blue.
I've never seen it.
I don't know if it's definitely gone out of trend, but I feel like it's definitely coming.
My kids
back.
would definitely put blue and pink on them. So
great idea.
Okay, I think that we got you guys some thought starters. Now go brainstorm.
And tell us if you use any of them, because we'll buy from there.
We'll promote it.
If you liked the episode, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment below.